All right, my friends, welcome to another episode of Remodelers on the Rise. Believe it or not, December is knocking on the doorstep. If you're watching this live, December's knocking on the doorstep. If you're listening to the recording of this, it's already here, isn't it? December is here. And let me check my calendar. Yep. January follows December. Don't you love kind of the New Year's time, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day? There's all of this. We got a fresh, clean slate. Let's not worry about and be concerned with and be focused on what we did or didn't do last year. We've got a new year in front of us. I personally love that time of the year. And what I'm doing here by setting this show up this way is to kind of get your mind going and get you excited about making some clear, realistic, and solid plans for the new year. The title of today's episode and show is How to Create a Realistic and Solid Plan for the New Year. So what I'm going to do is kind of walk you through the process that kind of a little bit more of abbreviated process, but the process that I walk a lot of my remodeling clients through to help them plan and prepare for the upcoming year. So there we have it. I've got sound effects. We've got our tried and true chime as we navigate through. For you people watching live, give me a little hello in the comments. Give me a little like button. I love that. So how to create a realistic and solid plan for the new year. I think one thing we need to be reminded of is that it is wise as business owners to actually make a plan. Is the plan flexible? Can things change throughout the year? Of course. But fail to plan, plan to fail. Somebody smart once said that. I don't know who it is, but it's somebody smart. You can type in the comments if you know who said that. Another phrase that I use often is 5P. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Both of those are telling us it is wise and it is valuable and it is important to plan out our year. So with that said, what I have, and I will share my screen quite briefly here, just to give you a view of this. But I have this wonderful little PDF. We can send it to you in PDF form or Word document form. And it kind of says, hey, as you're dreaming and thinking about this upcoming year, here are some questions to ask and process to take. And if you'd like a copy of that, feel free to send an email to Bailey, Bailey, at remodelersontherise.com. And she will respond back and say, well, thank you so much for requesting that goal setting and plan creating PDF. I'd be happy to send it to you. Here it is. It's attached. Enjoy. So Bailey at remodelersontherise.com. Bailey, you could also, if you're watching this live, feel free to put a copy of it, a link to it in the comments. Okay, rock and roll. All right. See, we go live on YouTube, and sometimes naughty comments show up, like spam comments. I just had to delete them. I got excited because I saw some new comments, but they were not for us to view. Okay, they're deleted now. So as we navigate in how to create a realistic and solid plan for the new year, what I want to start with is a series of questions that I want you thinking about, wrestling with, and answering. Okay, thinking through these questions and answering these questions. Bailey, you just asked if I am using my fancy mic. I am. Is the audio fancy and good? Let me know. It should be. Okay, so some of these questions that I want you to start thinking about as you create a realistic and solid plan for the new year. I'm going to start with some financial related questions. And again, if you email Bailey at remodelersontherise.com, she will send you a nice Word doc PDF where you can go through all of these questions I'm going to be reviewing during this. Or if you're listening to the recording, kind of pause it as we go, write it out, answer these questions. And Bailey, also feel free to put a direct link to this to make it easy for the people that are watching live. Okay, good. She's saying my audio is a little echoey, so we may fix that so that you guys do not have to deal with that. One moment, please. Okay, and we're going to go like this.
Okay, folks, we are switching audio. We'll do a little edit of that. All right, so we are switching audio. Please let me know if that sounds better. And let's talk about some of these financial questions that I want you thinking through and answering as you create a plan for this upcoming year. What is your revenue goal for this year? So it's good to think about, one, whenever you're creating a plan for the next year, do reflect on the previous year, but it's mostly forward looking, not rear view looking. But what is your revenue goal for this year? Is it higher than what you're than what you're expecting? Why is it what you're going to put in there? Why did you say I just want my revenue goal to be about the same as last year? I want our revenue to be up 15%. So it's going from 2 million to this number. And here's kind of why. Explain some of the whys behind it and some of the notes related to your thinking when you set some of these goals. So when we're planning for the upcoming year, yes, we need to think through, what is your revenue goal, top line revenue goal for this year? Another question that we want to be thinking about is, what is your gross profit margin goal for this year? Gross profit margin. If I'm doing $1 million in top line sales, and I have $700,000 in my cost of goods sold, that leaves a gross profit of 30%. $300,000, 30% gross profit margin there. That's an important number. It's a metric that I want you paying attention to. It's a metric that when you create your plan for this upcoming year, I want you to answer that question. What is your gross profit margin goal for this year? And take some notes on, how are you going to achieve that? Is that a big improvement from previous years? Is it keeping it about the same? How are you going to achieve that gross profit margin goal? So again, as we create this, I have some different financial related questions. There we go. Bailey said, grab a copy here. Listen, when I do these shows, we want this to be valuable to the people that are listening to it. This is not just for you to hear my beautiful tenor voice rant and rave into a microphone. It is for you to take a hold of this and do something with it. And if you're listening to it, you need to be creating a realistic and solid plan for the new year. And I am walking you through some of the steps to go about that. All right. So some financial numbers. What is your net profit margin goal for this upcoming year? That's a number that I want you to think about. When you take the gross profit dollars that you have, when you subtract off of them your overhead expenses, which usually does also include a salary that you're paying yourself, what is your goal for net profit this year? Set it. Think about it. What is your goal based on that revenue, based on that gross profit, based on the overhead you have? What is your net profit goal this year, and how are you going to go and get it and achieve it? When you think about how you're going to go and get and achieve it, maybe you need to really focus in on, I got to pay attention to my overhead numbers. I've got to watch my job costing more so that I can improve my gross profit margin, so there will be more net profit dollars at the end. All right. So there's a few financial questions. Another financial question: what is your cash reserve goal for the year? In other words, how much do you want to save? Right now, if you don't have the savings that you want, the retained earnings, the money in your checking and savings that makes you feel comfortable with the fluctuations of money in, money out, and you have a goal to improve that, what is your goal this year to improve your cash reserves? How much money do you want to save? Okay, I want you to think about that. And then one other financial question is, what is your personal earnings goal for the year? You're working your face off. You're a business owner. You are working hard to, yes, support your team, to grow your business, to grow your team. And it is good to think through, what is your goal related to what you're looking to make from the business. Sometimes we hold back from what we could be personally earning so that we can invest in the business. Sometimes we've been doing that for a few years, and it's time to perhaps draw more out of the business. You have over here personal goals, whether it be retirement related or college savings related or down payment on property that you're trying to buy. If you have those goals, what is your goal to earn from the business this upcoming year? I want you to think through that. Okay. So there's the little chime. What that chime represents is those are the first few questions that I want you to think about. We are trying to create a realistic and solid plan for the new year. And I'm starting by walking you through some different financial related questions and having you set some goals related to those. Does anybody have a question so far? Does anybody have a comment so far? I'd love to see some of those live comments. All right, next up, some questions related to the business and the team. I want you to think through which office employees will get a raise next year. Are you adding any new staff to the office side of your business? If you're going to create a plan for the new year, do you not need to think through your team and your staffing? Do you not need to plan for that? Plan for the raise, plan for bonuses, plan for any new staff that you're wanting to bring on. So we need to think through that. We need to take some notes and write that out. And similarly, which field employees will get a raise next year? Are you adding any new staff to the field? When you look at your 2023 plan for your business that you are being proactive with, that you are planning and preparing for, are you planning on bringing on additional field staff? Why or why not? One person, two people, you're keeping it the same? You need to strategically think about these things. Do you see where I'm pushing you guys here? You need to think about these things. By the way, making this outline very organized for you. Bailey already put it in the comments, or just email Bailey at remodelersontherise.com, and you will see the questions that we're walking through, plus a few more that I didn't put up here to help you create that plan. Okay. Another question. Will there be any changes to the company's organizational structure this year? Any changes to ownership? Are you an LLC right now, switching to an S Corp? A lot of times this is kind of a quick question because there's not much of a change. But if you're listening to this and you are currently just a garden variety LLC and you are not an S Corp, I want you to ask your tax advisor. I want you to ask your CPA about that. Might be time to do that. Oh, baby, we got a question. Hey, Jim, how do you calculate the necessary top line revenue to add a person? Very interesting, Jim. Very interesting, Jim. Jim, is that related to, let's say that's related to an office related position. And let's say that is related to, if it's an office related person, that is going to go into your overhead expenses. Your overhead expenses. So if I were to calculate the necessary top line revenue to add a person, how would I approach that? Number one, I get very clear with how much overhead expense I have currently. I get clear with some of these other questions. What is my net profit goal? Okay, I think through those items. And one of the ways to calculate this using volume-based markup is to know what your overhead expense number is, know what your net profit number is, and then plug in your top line revenue goal based on that. And when you do the calculation, Michael Stone teaches this, there's a calculation that when you divide this by this, it spits out what your markup needs to be. So when you think about calculate the necessary top line revenue to add a person, there's a few different ways you can do that. You can add to your top line revenue, which will result in more gross profit dollars, which will allow you to have the dollars to pay for that additional overhead. That's one way to do it. You could increase your markup in what you're charging. So you could theoretically have the same amount of revenue, but you increased what you charge, which has resulted in more gross profit, a lower percentage of cost of goods sold, a higher percentage of gross profit, and that has allowed you to pay for that additional overhead expense. So there's a few different ways, a few different levers that you can pull. You can pull on how much you're charging and your markup. Another way to look at it is you look through your overhead expenses. Are there any overhead expenses that you had this year that you could cut to help you afford something over here? I see this done often where, you evaluate if you have enough, if you want to make the investment in a new office space. Well, we're not going to spend money over here. We're going to whittle this down. And all of a sudden, we're not trying to cover $1,500 a month for this office rent. We're actually only trying to cover $700 because I've already saved another $800 by cutting some costs here or there. So there's a few answers to your question there, Jim. Thank you for that fine question. So back to some more of the questions that we ask to help us create a realistic and solid plan for the new year. Here's a couple more questions, and then we're going to go and do something called Around the Horn. This question is, what initiatives do you have coming up that might require additional expenditures? This could include things like new software, technology implementation, training. As you think of your plan for this upcoming year, are there some additional expenditures based on we're going to work to implement this, that, or the other that you need to make sure you've thought through and incorporated into your plan? Another question that's a little financial related. What new equipment or other assets might the company need to purchase this year? Smart remodelers plan for the upcoming year. They are proactive with it. They do not just sit on their heels and see what comes at them. They make a game plan and they go and execute that game plan. That is what I'm walking you through here, folks. Get fired up about it. Put the time and effort into it. Go into your calendar right now and carve out a half a day next week, the following week, maybe, as things slow down, around the holidays, and put a big fat calendar invite from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., from noon to 5 p.m. that says planning my 2023 because I'm a smart, proactive remodeler who's going to improve their business next year compared to what they did this year. It's a long title for that calendar invite, but I think you understand what I'm saying. Fight for that time and make the time to be answering and wrestling with these smart questions that I'm putting in front of you. Okay. What new equipment or other assets might the company need to purchase this year? Think through that. Any new services or products that you're going to be offering this year? I have had several clients start up and get serious about starting up a handyman wing of their business this year. That would be a new service that they planned for this year and executed. Do you have any new services that you're going to be offering this upcoming year? Okay. And Jim said, "Thanks, K-Man." I never had that as a nickname, Jim. My last name is Hunt, as some of you might know. I'd say that if you were to say, "Kyle, what's your biggest nickname?" I'd say my boys in high school used to call me Hunter. Yo, Hunter. But it never really stuck that well. My son's name is Thomas William. I call him T. Willie. That's a good nickname. All right. That chime designates ending the nickname conversation part of today's show. Moving back to the questions. I have 2 more questions, and then I'm going to move into kind of around the horn. Another question is, what existing business debt do you need to pay down? List out the total amount. List out a goal per month or for the year for principal pay down. Do you see how all of these questions I'm asking, you have to sit and think about? You have to make a plan for. You have to put some pencil to paper and put some numbers around them. But if you're going to plan for your upcoming year, if you've thought through these things, you are setting yourself up for success and progress. So that one is related to something that's important of what existing business debt that you want to squash this year. And then this is a little bit of a catch-all. Any other changes or plans that will impact the company's costs this year? A little bit of a catch-all question there. Okay. So again, we are working to create a realistic and solid plan for the new year. By going through these questions, the financial related questions, the team and staffing related questions, thinking through new initiatives, equipment purchases, new services, thinking about any business debt that you need to pay down. By answering these questions, you have a bit of a structure, a bit of an outline of what your plan that you're looking to execute is for this upcoming year. When we set goals like these, it can sometimes be frustrating if we don't hit them for a year. Or, man, I used to set goals, Kyle, when I was doing this or that, and then I get too busy or I get distracted. Or, I did it and actually didn't motivate me. Demotivated me. That's the word I was looking for. Demotivated me because, I didn't hit them and I got all down on myself. So you're telling me, who here wants to put in the comments, I don't think setting goals and a plan for your business for the upcoming year is smart, Kyle. I think that's fool's gold. I think that is a waste of time. I don't think that helps. Anybody want to be a contrarian here? I don't think anybody's going to put it in there, because when we think about it, if we are a business owner and we have all these different pieces and levers and things that we can do in our business and goals that we can set, it is wise and smart to invest time working on the business and thinking about these things. Set goals, set plans, create plans around them. So those are a lot of the questions that I have. I want to go around the horn to a few other areas of your business, and then I want to get real specific on, okay, we've got these notes, we've got these ideas. Now, how do we really create just a simple, clear, solid, realistic plan? All right. So a few other things. I call this kind of around the horn. Okay. And I'll do it this way. Some of you may have seen some posts and some emails from me, because it is the week that we are launching the VIP Club. The VIP Club. And one of the things that you'll see when this sucker launches is the VIP Club is organized around kind of 6 core pillars of your business. And these are just different areas that when you see them, yep, that's a key area of my business. So one of those core pillars, as we go kind of around the horn of these, is financials. So when you're creating your plan for this upcoming year, I want you to go to each of these core pillars, and I want you to think through, all right, when it comes to financials, what do I need to think about this upcoming year? What do I need to work on this upcoming year? Some thought starters for you. How can you improve your cash flow? Are you watching your P&L closely, and is your P&L accurate, or is it way, not up to date, so you're not getting good data? Maybe you watched the session that myself and Steve and Brian did related to work in progress, WIP accounting. Maybe you want to incorporate that into your P&L. Are you doing job costing during and at the end of every project, and watching that expected versus actual closely? What else needs to be done in this area? So as you go around the horn to these core pillars of your business that are very important for each one of you, think through what improvements need to be made this upcoming year. And make a little bit of an exhaustive list. Don't be shy at this point. Create a list of all the different areas that are clunky, that are broken, that are not too organized. Also, feel free to note, made improvements here and need to take it to the next level. Have made strides in improving, yada, yada, need to be more consistent. Really take notes in each of these sections. And let me give you just a peek at the last part of this. And then you're going to need to go into each of these areas and each of these items that you're setting some goals and needing to make some progress. And you just need to make a first or one or two SMART goals out of it. A SMART goal is an acronym: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. You go through and you look at that list and say, okay, what is really going to be part of my simple and realistic and clear plan this year? This one. Yes, I need to make progress on those. Now let me make a SMART goal, a very specific goal that is time-bound, that is realistic, that's measurable, and create those SMART goals. And now you've got a plan with some deadlines, and that's prioritized for what you need to get done. And one other thought on this is there's going to be items that just go into the parking lot. That is a good idea. It's something I need to work on, but I just don't have the time to focus on that or to do anything with that right now, because I'm focused on these areas over here. Okay, so some of these items can go in the parking lot. All right. And when we create a plan for the upcoming year, we don't need to shove everything into the first quarter of the year. Yes, you're going to have a focus and some priorities for the first quarter of the year, but you also have a second quarter coming, and a third quarter coming, and a fourth quarter coming. So figure out what you want to focus on first, get very clear with your SMART goals related to it, and make that plan. This is good stuff, guys. I don't know if you think to yourselves, Kyle, he talks a lot about these different ideas. He shares a lot of good ideas. I wonder if I signed up for one-on-one coaching, or if I joined his VIP club, there must be some things I'm missing. There's a whole nother layer of coaching and teaching that he never shares on here, that I never hear from anybody else. No. You're going to get stinking accountability. You're going to get encouragement. You're going to get more clarity. You're going to get more questions answered when you're part of, organized groups that I'm doing. But the stuff I'm sharing here is stinking good, guys. And this is, you can do this on your own. We've already given you the link or the option to download this PDF. It outlines exactly what to do step by step. It explains that SMART goal thing. And I'm doing that free of stinking charge. I'm not charging you a dime for that. I want you to take some action with what I'm talking about, because if you take action on it, you are going to make improvements. That's why I do this show, so you can do that. Okay. So one core pillar, financials. Another one, marketing. Marketing. Marketing has been on our radar a little bit more these last 6 months. Leads are not quite as prevalent as they have been the last year or two. And we need to make sure that we do not take our eyes off of one of these core pillars of our business, that being marketing. So think through, are you tracking your leads and where they're coming from? Do you have a clear marketing plan? What is your actual plan and priorities when it comes to your marketing? Are you staying in touch with your previous clients? If you're not, why are you not signed up for Remodelers Autopilot? RemodelerSAutopilot.com. Come on, people. What additional things are you going to do this year related to marketing your business? Are you looking to increase or decrease your marketing budget? Spend a little time on this core pillar. Think through some of those thought starters. And what are you going to work on related to marketing? Okay, that's a second core pillar. First one was financial. Second one was marketing. Third one here, your sales process. Your sales process. What a critical pillar and important thing in your business. When it comes to the sales process, are you charging for design and project development? If you're not, and you think you should, you should. Do you need to change the format of that a little bit? Do you need to update, kind of get really clear with this is how we work and what your process is? How are you doing on those initial phone calls? What about doing those via Zoom instead of phone? Have you tried that or thought about that at all? How are you qualifying your prospects? Do you have a very clear, this is how we work? Think through your sales process and what are some of those improvements that you're needing to make to your sales process? Okay. Another core pillar. For those of you watching live, throw a little comment in there. Is this good? Is this helpful? If you're listening to the recording, pause as we go. Get yourself a copy of the PDF that we talked about, or you get it in Word doc form. Okay, and go through this step by step. Create that clear, realistic plan for this upcoming year. A fourth pillar is your team. Your team, your team, your team. People, your team and your success, those two things are very closely intertwined. You personally can be an absolute all-star, amazing remodeler. But once you get to a certain amount of revenue, you need to build a team around you. And you are only as strong as the team you have built around you. You need to continue to train them. You need to perhaps replace a few of them with better teammates. You need to think about, are they at capacity or past capacity? You need to continue to work on, how do I provide a wonderful place to work and a thriving place to work for my team? This is a core pillar of your business, is your team. So we need to set some goals and take some notes around this. So financials, marketing, sales process, your team. Keep throwing strikes, Hunter. That's right. Did you know, fun fact, Jim, the last time that I towed the rubber, meaning went on the pitcher's mound, that's code for that, was American Legion ball the summer after my senior year. The last official start I had as a pitcher, I threw a no-hitter. It's my only no-hitter of all time. Fun fact, I walked 6 batters, didn't give up any runs, and threw a no-hitter. The crowd went wild. My catcher came and caught me in his arms. It was amazing. It was kind of sloppy no-hitter, right? 6 walks. But late in my senior year, I developed this nasty little slider, and I just kept throwing it, and people kept chasing it. Some of them didn't chase it. That's what led to the walks. But that's a fun fact. So yes, I will keep throwing strikes. We're almost done, actually. Okay, your team. The fifth pillar, production. Think through the production side of things. How are you doing with your pre-construction conference? How are you doing with training your team? Do you need more trade partners? Are there some areas that you are light in with plumbers, and you're at the mercy of that one primary plumber, and you need to go and recruit more? Think through your trade partners and any gaps you have there. Think through your production capacity, your field labor. How are we doing with that? What else needs to improve with your production? Do you need to really fine-tune your final 5% of the projects? When you set goals and a plan for your upcoming year, and you think of this core pillar, that being production, how are you doing when it comes to the production side of your business? Okay. And then the last pillar that I'll hit you with is related to mindset. Think about and kind of make your plan this year. How are you going to continue to make sure your head is on straight? Leaders of businesses, business owners, you are I think we're used to the stress. I think we're used to the workload, and we don't realize that we have a lot of work and stress and responsibility on our shoulders. And if we are not proactively getting encouragement, inspiration, training, help, being reminded of things, helping get reminded to set priorities, our mindset and our confidence and our energy levels can suffer. They can suffer. So a core pillar of your business is your mindset and your confidence level. What is your plan to continue to hone that, to improve that? Sometimes that means you need to take better care of your stinking body. You're drained because you are not working out. You're drained because your diet is terrible. Not that that would ever be the case with me. Actually, it is. That ebbs and flows. But absolutely. What are you feeding yourself as far as new knowledge? Are you giving yourself the gift of time to plan and to measure things and to review things? How is your mindset? Okay. So that's the structure. You take all the notes you wrote out, and you decide what you are going to attack in the first quarter of the year. You make some very clear SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time bound, related to those goals, and get yourself a plan that is clear and prioritized and realistic for this upcoming year. Pencil out some of these other ones and say, this is my priority for the first quarter. This is my priority for the second, for the third, for the fourth. Give yourself some things to shoot for, to aim for. Go into your calendar and carve out and put in times, an hour and a half on January 27th to review your 2023 plan and how you're doing with it. Get other people on your team involved in this so you have some of that accountability. Go into March 20th and April 20th and May 20th. Put into your calendar 2023 plan adjustment and review. And if you actually do those meetings and set aside that time, you will make more progress in your business this upcoming year. And in addition to that, this VIP club thing that I talk about can give you a great community and structure of training and implementation. This can help you take these plans and actually execute and implement them as we go through the year. So be on the lookout. It launches tomorrow. If you go to remodelersontherise.com, if you're listening to the recording of this, click on the VIP club. If there's some spots left, you might be able to snag one. Cool. So friends, that was the show for today. How to create a realistic and solid plan for the new year. I tried to bring the energy. I tried to bring some good ideas for you. I tried to inspire you. Hopefully we achieved that. And you took some good things away from it. But even better than taking some good ideas or being entertained or nodding your head through it is actually doing something with it and implementing it. So go out, work on that. Reach out anytime, my friends. Leave a review on your favorite podcast app for the Remodelers on the Rise show. Go to remodelers.com if you want to hear more about my coaching and all that fun stuff. And I'll see you again next time. See y'all.